Hey, Matt, about an hour ago, the Bills released that DeMar Hamlin showing some signs of improvement, some consciousness. Has that gotten around your meetings or locker room yet?
I have not heard anybody talk about it. I just saw that report myself, but I think that should make everybody feel a little at ease. I mean, I'm sure there's still a ways to go, but that's definitely any positive news is a good thing, obviously.
Will you guys have more of a quote regular practice today, or is it going to be like full speedish?
Yeah, it's gonna be our typical Thursday. So we'll be outside.
Snow.
Is it snowing? I know it was this morning. Yeah.
Matt, you're obviously familiar with Jared Goff. This stretch that he's on right now, do you think this is the best he's played?
Quite possibly. I know in his past he's put a lot of great things on tape. I think I just think they got a really complete football team, especially on the offensive side of the ball with that offensive line. They got multiple weapons. We talked about all of it yesterday. You know, the number of wide receivers and running backs and tight ends. It's just a really well-rounded unit. I think they're extremely well coached. I really like their scheme. I think they do a lot of great things.
You talked yesterday about the Lions' defense being better than the numbers would suggest. What specifically stands out about that group that makes you think it's a pretty decent defense?
Well, I mean, I think they counted yesterday. They got like 4 rookies starting for them, and so like it takes time. And I think just I'm kind of into the whole identity of a defense, and when you watch them on tape in terms of just the effort and strain, the physicality, their ability to get the ball out, the pressure they put on you, I think they do a really good job with that.
When it comes to pass protection, you face Hutchinson, then this James Houston 59 has come on in the last few weeks, right? Is there communication between Butkus and Clements about different things that may change week to week, depending on what you're facing with an opponent with a pass rush like that?
Yeah, that's every week. You're always talking about just some of the matchups, and then schematically the different looks that they could give you, and there's a lot of them on tape that they could give, but certainly Houston has shown up all over the tape. I think he's got 8.5 sacks, and he hasn't even played the whole season. So I think he's been a great boost for that defense. You can see his number one, his ability to get off the football, and then his ability to dip around the corner, and not every pass rusher has that.
Man, if teams try to kick away from Keyshawn more or do the pop-up kicks, what can you do to still try to get the ball in his hands?
We'll just probably throw it back to him.
I'm sure you'd love that. Is there anything from a strategic standpoint or that you can do to just make sure he gets the ball in his hands, though?
Yeah, you can throw it back to him.
Man, if you do that on Sunday, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Just for you, Bill.
What do you think has happened with the secondary to become as productive as they come? They solved the explosives from one half to another in Miami, and then really locked things down from there. And now the takeaways are just coming like crazy.
Yeah, I think first of all, just like what Jerry and Ryan Downard and Justin Hood do for those guys, and getting them coached up on some of the looks that they could potentially see, and then those guys spending the time themselves and talking, and I really think the communication and just everybody being on the same page. We've had less coverage bus, which is typically a recipe for giving up big plays, I know it's not been perfect. It never is, but we have been contesting a lot more balls, and I love how just those guys, the mindset. You saw it the other day. Rasul knocks a ball away, and Savage picks it off and takes it to the house. So Jair's been obviously very aggressive, and I really think all those guys just challenging more in the back end.
When you have a veteran group like that that's struggling with communication, with execution, how much of the onus do you put on coaches, and how much do you put on your veterans to talk it out amongst yourselves and get these problems fixed?
Yeah, I think it always starts with us as coaches, and we got to make sure our guys are all on the same page, and if we're not, then we got to look and see how much we're giving them and what we have to dial back. But yeah, I think our guys. I think it's all complementary, though. The rush has a lot to do with it as well, because certainly if the quarterback has to get the ball out quicker, then you're able to challenge a little bit more, play flat-footed, whatever it is that if you know the ball is going to come out. And I think you see that across the league. So I think everything is intertwined. It all goes hand in hand, and you got to know yourself and what you put on tape in terms of some of the looks that you've given offenses. So I think collectively everybody's done a better job of that, and we're going to have a great challenge this week because this is a team that has been able to provide the quarterback with a lot of time to throw when need be, but he also does a great job of when his number one is there, and I think that he hits his back foot and he lets it go.
Does rush help with the communication aspect on the back end? Because it's not just having more time to cover, but you had guys that weren't sticking to the assignment and were out of place, and we just haven't.
Well, it can cover up when you do mess up, because this is an imperfect game. You see it every week. Both sides of the ball, everybody's getting paid for a reason. We spend a lot of time on this. So I don't think it's ever just one thing. It's ever that simple. There's going to be times, and that's why as an offensive guy, you have what we call coverage beaters. So we're trying to get those dialed up when we think we're going to get a specific coverage. And, sometimes there's not a lot you can do about that. It's just you can always nitpick and pick holes in every defense, in every coverage, same with offensively. You can pick holes through every protection scheme. It's just you got to try to deploy those plays in the right situations. And when you don't, you look silly, and then you have to answer a lot of questions about it.
Amon-Ra was pretty darn good last year as a rookie, but what do you think's kind of allowed him to take that next step this year and become the playmaker he has for that offense?
Yeah, I just think the more time he's played, the better he's gotten. That tends to be with most players in terms of just being able to go out there and not get fooled, or you just get accustomed to adjusting on the fly. You can play really fast. I think he's got a great rapport with Jared. And then he's got a lot of weapons around him as well, which can take some of the attention away from him.
With Sunday being a winner-go-home matchup, what's been your messaging to the team this week?
Same as it is every week. You got to prepare the right way so you can go out there and play the right way. And you never try to make one game bigger than the next. It truly is a championship mentality every week. Otherwise, you get into these types of games, whether it's this game or you get into a playoff game, whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden it's bigger than the last game. Like we all know what's at stake, and you try to keep it as normal as possible each and every week, and you attack it the same way.
Yesterday, Rodgers was asked about the 2016 team. I know you were the Falcons. You guys knocked that team out of the playoffs, but do you get that reference to people, or do you hear that 2016 comparison?
I don't pay attention to any of that.
After a couple of weeks of limited usage, is Aaron Jones back closer to 100%? He looked sharp on Sunday night.
Yeah, I hope so. I think he's feeling a little bit better, but we're at week 18 right now, and I don't know if you go into any locker room, everybody's feeling 100%. So it's the wear and tear and the grind of the season.